turning the tables.
Thank you for coming on Turning the Tables. You guys are beautiful. Yeah,
You too.
Keltie and I was like, we've been wanting to get together, so finally it's happening. I'm so happy. So thank you guys.
No, this is so great, and I know you're so busy, and it's like the holiday season too, where I know you go crazy. So thank you for having us on. And
well, hello, I'm sure you guys are busy too. You know.
A little less busy than you on 4 TV shows and 10 children.
Yeah, I know. You guys are cute. Sorry. So let's talk about LadyGang. What inspired you guys to start it, and how did you grow into such a powerful platform for women?
Ooh, Keltie, take it away.
Okay.
Well, LadyGang, we really started. So the real story is that Jac and I have a mutual ex-boyfriend. So we dated the same guy way back in the day, which we will never let anyone forget. Jac dated him first, and then I dated him, and then somewhere along the lore is that she went back with him, Jac.
I might have hooked up with him when him and Keltie were still dating. That is the conspiracy, but we don't know if it's true yet.
We haven't exactly figured it out.
Wait, and were you guys friends?
No.
Oh,
No.
wow. This is so cool.
We're like our own little housewives. So, but Becca and I knew each other because we both lived in New York, and she was a dancer in New York before she was on Glee. She was doing Broadway, and I was a dancer too. I was trying to do Broadway unsuccessfully. Some things never change. And so, we knew each other, and Glee had just ended, and I was working in entertainment news, and podcasting had just started, but we were having lunch, and we were like, we should do a TV show. And then we looked at each other. We're like, no one's going to give us a TV show. What do we think we are? Teresa Giudice? And I was like, well, what about a podcast? And at the time, there really weren't any female podcasts. There's a lot of Joe Rogan, a lot of sports, a lot of politics. And so we kind of went, okay, but we need a third girl. And I was like, well, there's this girl who's way cooler than both of us, who is like in the in crowd. She's a fashion designer. So she's not in Hollywood. So she wouldn't know the like Hollywood of it all. And she's so different than us. And I was like, she would be perfect. So I literally got her number from a friend of a friend, texted Jac and was like, hi, I know you don't really know me. And we kind of we definitely knew who each other were, but we didn't know each other. And I was like, would you ever want to do a podcast? And she was like, sure. And I wrote the one page. I set up the meeting. The first time Becca and Jac ever met each other was at our pitch meeting to make the podcast, to sell the podcast. I was like, these are our best friends. And we totally lied through the whole meeting. We were like, yeah, it's based on our girl brunches, like all this stuff. They'd never met. So Hollywood's full of fakeness. But since then, we started 10 years ago in December of 2015, and we've never looked back. So that's kind of how we started.
Wow. So 2015. So you guys have been doing this almost 10 years.
Yeah. Almost 10 years.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Guys, that's so wow. I know. And that's when podcasts were just starting. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been wild. Like the fact that
only one other girl podcast really other than ours, I think, Sex with Emily. And we're just like girls in a boys world, and none of the sponsors were geared towards women at all. It was like TrueCar and NetSuite and all
Carvana.
Like all these like male focused things. So it was kind of hard to like get our foot in the door. But we're glad that we did.
Yeah, no, and I love the name. I love the LadyGang name. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Teresa, I want to ask you something. So we're doing this big festival for women next September, and we called it Lady World. Like it's kind of based on our podcast, LadyGang, but it's called Lady World, and it's like summer camp. Like you go for 3 days, you wake up in the morning, you do Pilates on the beach and crafts and makeup classes and a gifting suite, and then you lay on the beach all day, and then at night you come and there's like podcast, and like Ariana Madix is coming, Stassi Schroeder's coming, and then music. But
we couldn't afford you, Teresa.
We couldn't afford you. We didn't even ask. We don't have $1 million.
Stop.
Or a jet. But another podcast we're on said Lady World was a stupid name. Now, I know you have a background in business. Do you like the name Lady World?
I love it. Yes.
Great.
I like that it goes with LadyGang.
Yeah.
So seal of approval.
Yeah, seal of approval.
Love it.
We're going to add that to the
Love it.
website. Teresa, check.
Yeah, no, but I do love it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Next
that
year when
sounds
it's more
fun.
successful, we'll have. I know it's going to be great. Like we're really excited about it.
Yeah,
So
definitely keep me in mind for next time. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll throw you an offer your way, and then you'll laugh your ass off and say,
that'll be
"Have a great
embarrassing.
time, ladies. I'll be
You're
cheering you
You're
on."
who is the model that was like, I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. You know,
Naomi Campbell.
That's
Wasn't it Naomi?
And I was like,
maybe.
the housewives don't get out of bed for less than $1 million a day at this point.
No, that's not the. Yeah, no. I mean, I wish. I wish. All right. So, Keltie, this is for you.
Okay.
You've had such a cool journey from being a Rockette. That's amazing. To hosting the E News. How did you land the gig with the Rockettes?
This is a great question. Okay, so you're Jersey, so you probably go with your kids or did at some point like go see the Rockettes every year, right?
Yes.
So it's this dance show at Radio City Music Hall in New York. And I moved to New York. I was 18. I worked on a cruise ship for a year and then I saved up my money. I had a bad, no offense to you, Italian first husband, not nice guy, not nice. And the mom was crazy. The Italian mom, not so bananas. And I got off the cruise ship. I moved to New York with them because we were in love, obviously. And my dream was always to be a Rockette because I knew I couldn't sing. And the Rockettes are like Broadway adjacent. Like they're the dancers that don't have to sing. Like you sing out loud, but you're not like singing. Like Becca would sing on Broadway, like a lead part, you know? So it was always my dream. But the Italian mom, I don't know if this is going to track with you, Teresa. Yeah. I think, and the Italian ex-husband, like, I think they really thought like, oh yeah, you want to be a dancer. You want to be in Hollywood. Like, no, girl, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Crate and Barrel and you're going to get a hutch and you're going to put plates in the hutch and you're going to learn how to cook and you're going to make like 7 fishes on Christmas Eve or whatever it is. And you're going to be an Italian housewife. And I was like, I am absolutely not going to be doing that. Like I do not have it in me. And then we broke up. So, but yeah, so I auditioned 3 years in a row. I didn't make it the first couple years. I got really like, the girls always called me an evil genius because like I hired someone, old retired Rockette, to teach me the choreography so that I would know it before the audition. Like I was like super smart about it. And then I got in and did it for 6 years.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. Did you ever miss the stage?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, we just got off tour. We did a LadyGang tour where we went across the country, and Becca and I both missed the stage so much. We did some very beautiful stage performances for the LadyGang tour, and we're already dreaming up like what we're gonna do on stage for Lady World because here's the thing, Ariana Madix.
Love that name. Love it.
Thank
like
you.
you just
Yay.
said it rolled right off your tongue.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
Ariana Madix is going to be there, you know, from Vanderpump Rules. And
Yes.
she just did Chicago. Oh, God, thumbs up. She just did Chicago on Broadway. And Becca's been on Broadway, and I've been trying to get on Broadway. And Jac doesn't want to dance. Jac will just be in the side. She'll design like the screens that are going behind us. Like she's cool like that.
I
But
don't
like,
need to do a performance.
he doesn't need a performance. But like Ariana, me, and Becca doing some sort of performance at Lady World is my dream. So I'm trying to dream up like what show that should be from. Like what, will you do it with me, Becca?
Sure.
Yeah. I would love to see it. Yeah. I would love
Okay.
to see
Well, maybe actually, have they ever asked you to be in Chicago on Broadway
it. No.
or to audition?
No. Well, I was on Dancing with the Stars, and I only lasted 2 weeks.
It was a.
That's a pressure cooker, though. The Dancing with the Stars
you know what?
situation.
It was really hard. It was hard, and I've never danced in my life. But meanwhile, my daughters, like I started them all in dance.
Yeah.
And then Gia and Adriana, they both danced till 8th grade. So they
Wow.
both danced for like 10 years, and they were so good. But then once they got into high school, they didn't want to do it. I'm like, you don't want to be on Dancing with the Stars? I was like so crushed when they both quit. But yeah, and then my other 2 daughters, they stopped, I think around 3 or 4, and they wanted to play soccer. So I ended up being a soccer mom, and I was like, and I was like, you want to play soccer? I'm like, I was like such a girly mom. But then I have to say, I love soccer. And then I remember when they were playing, like the girl soccer team ended up winning the championship, like what's it called? The goal. Yeah, what's it called when they win? The U.S. Cup. Remember when the women won?
Yes. The professional women.
USA.
Yes.
USA won. So yeah, so soccer to me is like, I love soccer because the
The World Cup.
Yeah, the World Cup. That's
Yes,
it. The
yes,
World
yes,
Cup.
yes.
See that?
We're all so sporty here,
I know.
Teresa.
We're so
I'm like,
smart.
what sports?
Becca, let me ask you. You're so well known for your role on Glee, but you've worn so many hats in your career: actress, singer, and now podcaster. How has your journey from Broadway to Hollywood shaped who you are today?
I'll be honest. I doing theater my whole life and growing up dancing in that whole world that you know, like with little girls dancing. I was really confident. I just wanted to be the best at whatever I could. So it was like the voice lessons and the dance lessons and the acting things. And that was all for the musical theater world for the goal to get on Broadway, which I did, and it was amazing and wonderful. And then I kind of got plucked from obscurity to go join the TV show Glee because they were looking for kind of like real Broadway people to come and do that show. So I never had aspirations of being on TV ever in my whole life. And then I started on that show, and I will say the adjustment from theater to TV was quite humongous. And I became super insecure, like almost overnight, because you are thrust on this screen, and I'm sure you know this very well. Thrust on a screen, you're on. And at the time, we were on one of the biggest shows in TV, and there are millions of people watching every week. And unfortunately, the internet was already really alive and well, and social media. So like you could go anywhere to find out what people thought about you. And I found out very quickly that you have as many people telling you that you're wonderful and amazing and they love you on the show. There's as many people telling you that you're ugly. And actually, one of my biggest criticisms was they announced the new characters for the show, and it's me in my cheerleading uniform for the like my wardrobe for the show. And someone said she looks like a Real Housewife in a cheerleader costume.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But it was like, I was like, well, I'm taking that as a compliment because I would only ever want to be a housewife.
Biggest
Right.
So.
But it was hard for me to be thrust into public opinion like that, because when you go into musical theater, no one got famous from musical theater. Nobody was on the cover of People magazine because they were in musical theater. Now a little bit more, like it's growing. But at the time, there was like the word paparazzi was never in the vocabulary. So it took a lot of adjusting. I mean, I really went through all of my 20s or like my mid 20s on TV. And so that was like, I went from such a confident young woman to questioning everything, wanting to change everything, like really aware of what I looked like, what my body looked like. And I'm just now in my late 30s, fine and okay. And like the noise from the outside world doesn't really affect me so much. But that was a humongous adjustment, I would say.
Well, I'm glad that you've overcome that. I'm glad you overcame it. You're beautiful. So forget those trolls. Yeah. So Jac, Jac, this is for you. You built such a bold, creative brand in fashion, and now you're bringing the energy to LadyGang. How did your journey as an entrepreneur lead you to podcasting?
Yeah, so I started my clothing line when I was in college. I was obsessed with music when I was younger. And
let's tell everybody what's it called.
Oh, it's my name. It's called Jac Vanek. It's fun graphic tees. It's not like I'm doing like couture anything. But
okay, where can they find it?
JacVanek.com.
Okay.
So I started it when I was younger. I was obsessed with going to concerts. I just wanted to make out with boys and bands. And that was the inspiration for my brand, because I wanted to travel the country like all of my friends and bands and do what they did. But I had no musical experience. I can't sing like Becca can. I don't have the gumption like Keltie does to try to like get on Broadway. So I was like, this is my way in. And I've always just been a really creative person. I've always loved doing things my own way, paving my own road, and just expressing myself creatively. So when it came to LadyGang, I was kind of the one out of the three of us that had that sort of a background. So I've just sort of taken over the creative background of LadyGang and all of the visions and the designs and text and email, like anything that goes out that's LadyGang branded is mostly me. And I just love it. I think it's so fun. And I think I've given our brand something that's different and cool, and we'll always do something. And then 6 months later, everybody else has the same thing going on. So imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but it's really fun.
It is. Yeah.
And now we're doing it for Lady World. We're like, I have this vision for what Lady World is going to look like, and it's really, really fun. So
I love that. I love how different all of you are, you know, and you have all different backgrounds. I love that. All right. So now we're going to talk about turning the tables. I want to know one lesson that you've learned from working together on LadyGang that's helped you turn the tables in other areas of your life.
We should have known. We're coming on this podcast.
Actually, Keltie, I know yours. The thing that has turned the tables is the Enneagram thing. Like Keltie, Keltie is, I hate to speak for you, but let me just give you background.
Yeah.
Keltie is a very specific type of worker. She's a workhorse. She never stops. She wakes up in the morning. She is such a machine. She's like the working robot she's the engine of LadyGang. And she operates at such a high level and a high frequency at all moments of the day that in the beginning of LadyGang, you know, Jac is such a creative. She's like a true artist where the timeline isn't, I need to get this done by Tuesday. It's when I find the idea that inspires me and when I execute it to perfection. So, and then I'm kind of like somewhere in between the two. Like I'll have like spurts of working my ass off and then spurts where I'm like, I literally haven't opened my email in 4 days. So that for Keltie was really, really challenging. And there was a lot of frustration not a lot, like it was no drama, but I think it created it could be tense at times. But then at some point in time, Keltie learned about the Enneagram test. Have you done one of these where you take a quiz?
I'll send it to you.
It's very long. It's a very long quiz and you answer questions and it gives you a number of what personality you are on this spectrum of the Enneagram.
Okay.
And what's beautiful is that we all took it. And so Keltie obviously knew who she was already. She's like, oh, I'm this, no shit. I've like been obsessed with working my whole life. Yeah. And then she found out that Jac was this other number, which
She's a 7.
She's a 7. And it literally sums Jac up in a perfect bow. And it sort of allowed all of us to realize that you are who you are. I mean, there are adjustments that can be made. And if Jac really has to get a deadline, like she'll get there. But it was a way for all of us to learn, you know, for better or worse, this is who we are. This is how we're wired. And we're going to just have to learn to accept it. And communication has been a huge part of that.
Yeah. In the beginning, Keltie also was sending us like 6:30 a.m. texts and like 11:30 p.m. texts.
Yeah.
Because she was like, because she was on her time working and she just assumed that we are also on the same time.
Yeah.
So we had to like set some boundaries. But the good thing about the three of us is we've never really, I mean, we've gotten intense with each other, but we naturally work so well together. And over these 10 years, we've learned how to work even better with each other. And we all like stay in our own lanes. Like you said, we're all so different and we know what we're good at. So we trust each other with what we're doing. So it took a while to kind of learn that. And I think from your question, being able, for me, it's the first time I've ever had like partners with work. I've always kind of been a lone ranger in doing things myself. So I've been able to take that in other aspects of my life, being able to work with people better, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, and I love how you guys, communication is key. And I love how you guys set boundaries because that's really important in life. Everyone should do that. Like, you need to set boundaries in order, because if you're not liking something, you got to just say it and communicate it, let it out. And then things, it's like you guys are kind of married.
Yes.
You are. And look, you guys, it's either you stay married or you break up, because and you guys make it work. So I love that.
And this has helped with my marriage, I know, because it's like you know, it's a bigger picture. Like I start to look at my husband as we're business partners. I mean, hopefully it's a little sexier than that, but you know, like I've had a longer commitment to these girls than I have with my husband. And so there's times that my husband and I can tend to go on like your side, my side, your side, my side. And we don't have like a common goal in mind because it's so, I don't know, it's just symbolic, the marriage. There's no like business. But with Jac and Keltie, it's like, no, we have a goal in mind and it's to make the best brand we possibly can. So then I transfer that over and I'm like, oh, we need the best marriage that we could possibly have. So we're going to like not like each other at times, but we're all both going to be fighting for the same goal. And that was a weird eye-opening thing. Like it took this strange podcast to help me be a wife.
No, I love that. No, because like some things like, that like being in that, because how you guys communicate and work things out and like set boundaries helped you exactly in your marriage. I never, until I met Louis, I never knew about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I never, like he helped me because he's very intuitive with that. And like he worked on himself and all that. And, and when I heard that, like his family's very into that. Like they communicate. Like Italians, we don't communicate. We just like go,
you just fight.
Yes, or like you just say it the way it is, and like and you don't care if you piss somebody off, But like with Louis' family, I just love how they are. They communicate, they set boundaries, and I like that. Like I do things so much differently now. So.
Well, also as women, I think that we are like taught that having boundaries as women means we're cold or we're bitches or we're selfish. So it's hard to do that if that's not what your nature is and not what society's told you you're allowed to do. But that's also like the beauty of aging too. I don't care who I piss off anymore.
Right. And like exactly. You're right. As you get older, you beat at your own drum.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what you should do. No, you should do that. Okay, the next question is, you've all reinvented yourself many times. What's been the most surprising lesson you've learned while turning the tables on your own life?
Oh my God.
Who wants to take that?
Keltie, oh my God.
Keltie has so many. She's been reinvented so many times.
I mean, I guess the thing that I've learned and would say fits in this podcast and with you, Teresa, and with LadyGang is just that like the work is never really done. Like, and it never, we go back to me being a workaholic, but like life is long, friendships are long, marriage is long, business is long, hopefully. But it's like, every time I thought it was like, okay, well, if LadyGang has a New York Times bestselling book, I'm not sure if you felt this way about your book. Like, I was like, then we'll be set for life. Like, we'll never have to worry again because if we get this New York Times bestseller stamp of approval, we'll be cool and like everything else will be easy. And then like you got it, and it's this amazing thing. And I love that like people have to say that about me every time like that we get introduced anywhere, and it's like a nice feather in your cap, but like. Then we just had to work more. You know what I mean? And then you think, oh, if I was obsessed for so many years of the podcast about winning an Emmy. I was like, I got to win an Emmy. And now I have 3 Emmys from doing TV. And it's like, they're great. And I'm so proud of myself and I'm so happy. But like, it didn't make it any easier. And so I think like just learning that like it's all part of the map of our lives and like it never ends. It kind of always gets harder. There's times when it's really easy. There's times when it's really hard. You have to be smart. You have to be tenacious. You have to be okay with rejection. But really, life is just not giving up. You know what I mean? It's just not being like, okay, fuck this, it's hard. Like I'm out. Unless you're in a position where you're like, you can't make it better, whether that's, marriage, life, whatever. But I always thought that I would get to some top of the hill and it would all make sense and it would all be magical and it'd be like, I made it and now it's going to be easy. And like, that's just never going to happen. And that was a real realization for me.
Well, and it's another thing. It's like that saying, don't compare your hustle to everybody else's highlight reel. Like that's something I feel like that's the lesson that we have to tell ourselves every single day. And it always changes. Like, when we were younger, a lot of it was like, don't compare to yourself to social media, yada, yada, yada. And now there's so many other girl podcasts out there, and it's really hard to not compare ourselves to some of these shiny new things and these podcasts that are playing to 5,000 people when we've been out here hustling for the last decade. So that's something that we have to learn all of the time, where it's like we've built something that's so special and we've made this community that's so amazing that cannot be replicated. But it's really easy to kind of get yourself stuck in the weeds and look at somebody else and be like, why can't I have that? That seems so easy.
Yeah. And a lot of women, or just people in general, are forced to reinvent themselves when they don't necessarily want to, whether it's, breaking up, going through a divorce, or having your children leave and you're an empty nester, or going back to work or leaving work. It's some of these things are not voluntary. And so I always have to tell myself, like, it's always darkest before the dawn. And you kind of have to hit that darkness in order to, have a rebirth of something new. And the something new might not at first be what you've really wanted or envisioned for your life. But if you lean in and you practice resilience, it always, for myself, has ended up much better than I had ever anticipated if I had stayed in that old chapter and been very stagnant.
You have to keep reinventing yourself. So we just want to put it out there to you women out there and anybody out there. Just always never give up, always push forward, and push yourself. You have one life to live it the best way you know how.
Yeah. So. That reminds me of Heather Gay was on our episode, and we were talking about how Housewives has really helped a lot of women pull themselves up by the bootstraps, and it's given them the ability to earn and make, have a platform and all that, and get out of marriages or financial situations. So I loved our conversation with Heather. It was similar.
All right. Last question, guys. Did you guys catch the Vicki hot mic moment last week? Has anything ever like that happened to you guys?
Can someone tell me? Because I'll
explain it. Okay, so Vicki was supposed to be on Nick Viall's podcast, but she didn't want to do it, and she thought it got canceled. So she was on the beach in Mexico. She's literally on the beach in Mexico doing it from her phone, FaceTime. And she basically tells him, she's like, I don't even want to be here. I wanted to cancel, but my producer made me do it, yada, yada, yada. She does the interview, and then she thinks that she hangs up, and then she's on a hot mic basically talking shit, being like, that podcast is so dumb. I did it as a favor for Nick Viall, and mispronouncing his name and just talking so much shit on him. And then they ended up airing the whole rest of the conversation in the podcast. So it was so good. Iconic.
Oh my God.
Did you guys ever get caught with the hot mic moment?
Never.
No.
Have we?
I don't think so. Definitely not of us. Even when we're doing LadyGang TV, we're very
aware.
So
that was hot mic.
Yeah, so this was fun, guys.
I love it. Thank you for having us, Teresa. And listen, I know we can't afford to have you be one of our lineup, but if you want to come down to Lady World, we'd love to host you and the fam at Lady World, and everyone can get their tickets at ladyworld.co if they want to come down.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, let me know. I would love to, know more about it. Yes.
Okay.
So thank you guys. Thanks for being on Turning the Tables. And let's do this again. I would love to do this again.
I would love to.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Pat.
I'm turning the tables. I'm turning the tables. Let's go. I know you love my style. I'm gonna make them smile. I am the one to win. Keeping them all to win. I'm turning the tables. I'm turning the tables.